In the early morning, my wife kicked open the door, saw me drinking, and the birthday cake thrown into the trash. Her eyes were indifferent. Aside from drinking, can you do something proper? I walked over to him, smiled, and said, how about you take a sip too? He shook off my hand with both eyes. You should go to sleep. Because of the excessive force, most of the red wine in the glass splashed out. With that shove, I sobered up a bit. I put down the glass in my hand, and only then turned around to look at him. Today is my birthday. Hearing this, Shen Yachu's eyes went blank, just for an instant. Then he returned to normal. Since it's your birthday, of course there should be a gift. I let out a breath. You won't give me one, so I'll give one to you. As I spoke, I took a document from the drawer beside the sofa and tossed it onto the table. This is my gift to you. His eyes swept over the cover of the document. The words divorce agreement came into view. At that, his brows furrowed. But he asked coldly, what trick are you trying to play now? Back then, our two families were united by marriage, binding you by my side all these years. I've wronged you. Haven't you been thinking about your first love all along? Go find him. I handed the divorce agreement to him. Before he could react, I gently kissed his forehead. Just a few seconds. And then he pushed me away hard, making me land face first. To end up as a married couple, having come to this point between us, is quite a failure. It seems, we really aren't meant to be lifelong companions. Shen Yechu's voice remained very cold. If back then you could have thought this way, we wouldn't have been entangled with each other until now. It's my fault. I forced a faint smile at the corner of my mouth. It seems this sin can only be atoned for by death. A cold smile tugged at the corner of Shen Yechu's mouth. Are you willing to die? I paused for a moment. My voice dropped slightly. If I were to die, I said, in the next life I won't love again. Wait till you're dead, then talk. Shen Yechu withdrew his gaze, turned around directly, and left again. The curve of my mouth gradually disappeared. He still dislikes me so much. I shook my head with a bitter smile and sat down on the sofa. From the drawer I took out another document. A medical examination report. The words advanced cancer on it were suffocating. And these words were written on the last page of the report. I closed my eyes for a long time before opening them. Then I tore up the report. Paper scraps scattered all over the floor. I looked at the wedding ring on my ring finger. My fingertips gently rubbed back and forth over it. Then slowly I took off the wedding ring, placed it on the tabletop. The next morning, I packed up all my things and threw them into the car. Didn't even eat breakfast. Then he drove away from the villa in a hurry, driving all the way forward, gradually leaving the city, onto the coastal expressway. Opened the car window. The wind blowing in was chilly. Hair blown by the wind. No longer seeing Shen Yechu. Turned the steering wheel to the right. I let go of my hands. Stepped on the accelerator to the max. The car crashed violently into the cliff on the right. The front of the car was severely deformed. At the driver's seat, bright red blood trickled out from under the car. Although I died, my soul kept drifting. I thought I could stay away from Shen Yechu after death, but somehow, my spirit always lingered around him. Huanyu International, 60th floor. I floated into his company. Ever since both his parents died in a car accident, the company has been under his management. The secretary made him a cup of strong coffee. I followed into the office. President, the video conference with Y starts at 9:30. The meeting materials have been prepared and placed on your desk. Shen Yechu nodded slightly, but I noticed something missing from his finger. That's right, the wedding ring. Although Shen Yechu usually didn't treat me well, he never took off his wedding ring. But today, the wedding ring on his left ring finger was gone. Only a faint red mark remained. Well, we're divorced now. No need to wear the ring anymore. I felt a moment of suffocation. Didn't expect that even after death, one still has emotions. Towards noon, I habitually looked out at the world. For 5 years, I faithfully went to the company every day to give Shen Yechu delivered lunch. Today I didn't show up. Secretary Liu Ryan seemed to guess something. He quickly ordered takeout for Shen Yechu. 30 minutes later, the takeout arrived. President Shen, please have lunch first. Liu Ryan put down the takeout and left. Shen Yechu finished the work at hand. He opened the lunchbox and took only one bite. Then he saw him frown slightly. He seemed to sense that the taste might be different. He ate a few random bites and then put it aside. The phone on the table vibrated. I glanced over, saw a familiar name. His gaze on the documents never had regret. He casually picked up the phone and answered it. Yechu, are you off work? Shen Yechu lowered his eyes and glanced at the phone screen. The corners of his mouth lifted slightly. Almost. Then let's have dinner together tonight. Shen Yechu glanced at the documents on the desk, softly agreed. Shen Yechu quickened his pace. After finishing the documents in his hand, he left the company. Huaxia International Hotel. Shen Yechu's car drove over from afar. Shenzi straightened his jacket. Smiling, he waited for him to get out of the car. Yechu, Shen Yechu walked over to him. Have you been here long? Shenzi naturally put his hand on his shoulder and said, no, I just arrived too. Shen Yechu's body stiffened noticeably, but in an instant, he recovered. The two walked into Huaxia International Hotel, French restaurant on the third floor. Shenzi gentlemanly pulled out the chair for Shen Yechu and ordered a few of his favorite dishes. Thinking about it, he found it laughable himself. Shen Yechu never added dishes to my plate. Every time I diligently added dishes for him, looking at him with expectant eyes, he would always say coldly, "Wang Lin, don't you have any self-respect? Can't you save your energy?" Shenzi seemed to be in a very good mood, a smile hanging on his face all the time. Exquisite dishes were served one by one. Shenzi maintained his proper composure. Occasionally, he would also add some dishes for him. Shen Yechu raised his eyes and gazed at him, asking with concern, "Are you feeling better?" This way it seemed he was capable of caring for others. "The one he cares about is not my father." Shenzi continued cutting the steak in his hand. "Much better, just the old stomach trouble. It won't flare up if I eat on time. I remember you didn't have stomach problems when we were in school." Shenzi's movements paused for a moment, meeting his gaze. "That was because I was taken care of so well by you. How could I have had a chance to fall ill?" Shen Yechu's face darkened. "He didn't take care of you." Shenzi put down his knife and fork, his brows slightly knitted. "Wang Lin took up 5 years of your life, and I forced myself to stay by someone else's side for 5 years. But we both know feelings cannot be forced. We love each other deeply. If it weren't for Wang Lin's interference, we could have been together 5 years ago. Yes, it's all my fault. Now I've finally left to make way for you too." Shen Yechu seemed to be reminiscing. "The shameful things I encountered 5 years ago." My face showed a bit of guilt. "I'm sorry to you." Shenzi stood up, walked over to him, and bent down, "But you're not wrong. It was Wang Lin and his family who used their power to coerce. Back then we had no power or influence. Couldn't resist." He looked at his brows and eyes. His gaze finally fell on his red lips, slowly pressed down. In a flash, Shen Yechu almost instinctively turned his head aside, avoiding his kiss. Very curious about what he was thinking at that time. Why did he react like that? Could he care about me? What I once told him, Shen Yechu, after we get married, stay away from other men. They all have impure motives towards you. Only I truly and sincerely love you. I shook my head, felt it was self-deception. How could he care about what I say? Shenzi's face stiffened. He stood up straight. "I'm sorry for being rude. I forgot you are a married man. We're divorced." When he said this, Shen Yechu, subconsciously, touched a spot on the ring finger of his left hand. The ring that had been worn for 5 years was no longer there, but the indent left from wearing it for so long. Shenzi's face showed shock. "Really? You're divorced?" But I noticed the corner of his mouth lift for a moment. Shen Yechu stood up, made him sit back in his original seat, said softly, "Yes, divorced." Shenzi's hands were placed on the back of his hands, smiling. "Great. Yechu, you finally don't have to force yourself anymore to stay by his side." He firmly held his hand. "This is a good thing. We should celebrate properly." Shen Yechu was indifferent. "It's not that big a deal. No need to celebrate." "Of course we must celebrate." Shenzi raised his voice. "I've been waiting for this day for 5 years. Childish ... even if it's for me. Let's celebrate properly together." Looking at the bright smile on his face, Shen Yechu didn't want to disappoint him, so he followed him to the 8th floor of Huaxia International Hotel. After they finished their meal, they went up to the 8th floor. I followed them out closely. My body seemed out of my control. I didn't want to see them showing off their love like this. When they arrived at the 8th floor, they happened to run into Shen Yechu's sisters. "You're here. Come, let's play together." Shenzi directly pulled Shen Yechu into their private room. Deafening music came from the private room. Shenzi put his arm around Shen Yechu's shoulder, as if declaring a kind of dominance. The sisters started to tease. Glasses kept being filled, tempting Confucius. In the end, Shen Yechu was already too drunk to stand steadily. His head was dizzy and drowsy. She squinted at her watch and murmured, "It's 12 o'clock. I need to go home. Wang Lin doesn't let me come home late. He's always controlling me. So annoying." Shenzi had been staying by his side the whole time. It seemed he heard his muttering. His face darkened slightly. She put her arm around his waist. She softened her body and coaxed him like a child. "You are divorced now. Now no one will restrain you. So you don't need to follow any rules about not drinking. The early agreement." Shen Yechu blinked and laughed. "Yeah. We're already divorced." "Right, we're divorced. Look at him. He's so happy. I've loved him for so many years, but I didn't get even a shred of love in return." He staggered, coughing. He took a glass of wine offered by someone and drank it down in one gulp. A little liquid trickled from the corner of his mouth and slid all the way down to his neck. Shenzi Ningmeng looked at the current scene as if knew Haoji, who was seductive like a demon. He involuntarily swallowed. alright. He timely blocked the wine that others offered. Let's call it a night here. Yechu is drunk. I'll take him to rest. Having said that, he helped Shen Yechu and slowly walked out of the private room. Shen Yechu followed Shenzi out of the private room without a word, took the elevator up to the 60th floor. Shenzi helped Shen Yechu to the door of one of the rooms, took out the room card prepared in advance and opened the door. Do you want me to watch them entwine with my own eyes? That's too cruel for me. The two entered the door. Shenzi helped him lie down on the bed, just about to help him take off his coat. Shen Yechu suddenly sat up, pushing him away. Her bright eyes showed not much emotion. Shenzi was stunned for a moment, tentatively asked what was wrong. I'm getting a room. Shen Yechu stood up. His groggy head caused him to sway a few times. Clearly, he didn't stand steady. Shen Yechu stumbled to the door, just happened to bump into the guest room manager walking in the hallway. Asked the manager to open a room. He then walked into the newly opened room alone, casually closed the door. I really didn't understand Shen Yechu's move. Hadn't he been waiting for this day for a long time? Shen Zhang's eyes gradually turned cold. Finally, with resentment, he avoided suspicion. Whispered, clearly already divorced. He was still preserving his virtue for that man. Early the next morning, Shenzi packed up. In a good mood, a perfect smile appeared on his face. Glowing with vigor, he put his arm around Shen Yechu. From the 60th floor, they took the elevator down, walked to the hotel lobby. We encountered an acquaintance face to face. In the resplendent lobby, people came and went. Shenzi and Shen Yechu watched with smiles. Someone not far away. It was the lobby manager of this hotel. Also my good brother who grew up with me. Zijaibo, I excitedly wanted to run over. Wanted to tell him not to get involved anymore. But my soul passed through his body. I was dejected, only then remembering that I was already dead. He wore a black professional suit, standing there upright. His gaze coldly fell on that pair of the man and woman cuddling each other. Zijaibo said mockingly, President Shen really knows how to have fun, huh? One at home, a group outside, having a great time playing. Shen Yechu's strategist, the humble minister, did not speak. The minister then suppressed his smile and took a step forward, in a protective stance, guarding in front of Shen Yechu. Zijaibo, our affair is none of your business. 5 years ago, it was Wang Lin who used his family's power and influence to force Yechu into marrying him. If it weren't for him, Yechu and I wouldn't have been separated for so long. Besides, Wang Lin is a complete failure now. What help can he offer Shen Yechu? He's nothing but a sponger. Zijaibo looked at Shen Yechu provocatively. A sponger living off a woman. I've never seen a man who could stoop as low as Wang Ling, giving up his own career for a woman. Shut up, Shenzi glared angrily at Zijaibo. I know best what kind of person Yechu is. I won't allow you to slander him like this. You won't allow it. In what capacity? As the third party, perhaps, Shenzi said to Zijaibo. It was Yechu and I who knew each other first. Wang Lin was the one who intruded and became the third party between us. Zijaibo said sarcastically. As I recall, you were the one who despised poverty and loved wealth back then, dumping Shen Yechu to go abroad with a rich girl. Shenzi glanced guiltily at Shen Yechu, quickly explaining, if Wang Lin hadn't come between us, how could I have left Yechu? The order is reversed, isn't it? Zijaibo said disdainfully. 5 years. Even if you raised a dog, it would wag its tail and beg for mercy. And I treated Shen Yechu with all my heart and soul. Yet in the end, he wouldn't even look me in the eye. Zijaibo stared at Shen Yechu. I hope you really haven't fallen in love with him. Otherwise, when you know what you have lost, you will understand what it means to regret beyond measure. Seeing my brother defending me like this, thinking he was the first to learn of my death, arriving at the hospital and seeing my corpse in a state of collapse, I wanted to tell him, don't waste any more time on this woman. She simply doesn't care. But now Zijaibo was so furious that he wished he could kill the two people before him with his own hands. I knew he had hatred in his heart. He hated me for being such a coward. He hated this woman for being ungrateful. When Shen Yechu met his gaze, his voice cold and deep, I don't love him. Zijaibo sneered. I hope you can remember the words you said today, and never regret it for the rest of your life. Zijaibo coldly tossed out these words, then clenched his fists and turned around to leave decisively. After Shen Yechu drove back to the company, he was as busy as ever. A night of heavy drinking gave him a headache. After the meeting, a brief rest. He asked his secretary to make him another cup of strong coffee. While waiting for the coffee, he took out his personal phone, which had been silent all night, and glanced through it. I leaned over to look at the phone screen. Shenzi had invited him to dinner that evening, so he replied to him, saying he was busy that night. Some other time, after replying, he scrolled through all the messages and missed calls again, as if looking for something. Waiting for something, he lowered his eyes and was silent for a moment. Just then, Li Ryan walked in with the coffee. President Shen, your coffee. Shen Yechu took one last look at her phone. Taimo looked at Liu Ryan. He calmly asked, did Wang Ling call? Liu Ryan first thought for a moment, then replied, no. Shen Yechu lowered his eyes. He didn't speak again. Liu Ryan looked confused. I guess Shen Yechu had never actively asked about me before. After all, it used to be me who fawned over him every day. After finishing the hot coffee, Shen Yechu put down his phone and threw himself back into a new round of work. At noon, Liu Ryan ordered a box meal for him. Shen Yechu took 2 bites and furrowed his brows again. Where was this box meal ordered from? A waxing restaurant. Liu Ryan thought for a moment, then asked hesitantly, is the food not to your taste? Should I order another one? The ones I ordered before were from the same place. From now on, just order from the previous restaurant. Liu Ryan glanced at the president, not daring to speak. Shen Yechu gave her a look. Liu Ryan seemed to struggle internally for a moment, then confessed, those meals from before were all brought over by Mr. Wang Lin. Liu Ryan nervously said, for the past few years, your lunch has always been delivered by Mr. Wang Lin, almost without fail, on time despite any weather, because he was afraid you wouldn't eat it. Mr. Wang Lin specifically told me not to let you know it was from him. That's why I never told you. I'm sorry, President, I shouldn't have taken the liberty. Yes, no matter how carefully I cooked for him before, as long as he knew it was made by me, wouldn't take another bite. From then on, I became cautious, humble and ingratiating, not hoping he would fall in love with me, only hoping he would accept my love. He must have gotten used to the taste. Suddenly changing flavors felt unfamiliar. Shen Yechu said nothing, just waved his hand to let him leave. Shen Yechu looked at the lunchbox in front of him, his expression unreadable. I looked at the food. It was made with proper decorum. Back then, every meal I prepared was beautifully arranged and heartfelt. The taste wasn't particularly outstanding, but it had the comforting flavor of home-cooked food. He opened his phone again and checked. Still no messages at all. He put down his phone and threw himself back into work. After Shen Yechu finished dealing with everything, it was already late. He glanced at the time and drove back to the villa. The house had been without its owners for 2 days. The housekeeper and a few maids took care of the villa with utmost diligence. Seeing Shen Yechu return, the housekeeper was very happy. Madam, you're back. I'll go to the kitchen and have them prepare dinner for you. Shen Yechu took off his coat, handed it casually to the maid, then asked the housekeeper, is the master home? The housekeeper shook her head, said worriedly, Master drove out yesterday morning. He hasn't returned yet. Shen Yechu said, go ahead and have dinner prepared. The housekeeper immediately went to busy herself. And I hadn't been home for 2 days. Hadn't he even noticed? Shen Yechu went upstairs and returned to our room. Walked around the room. Only then did he realize it was much emptier inside. All the things that belonged to me were gone. All the clothes in my wardrobe. All the shoes were missing. All daily necessities had been cleared out. And the man who had waited for him to come home every day for 5 years was also gone. Only then did he realize I had completely and utterly left this place. Left him. Shen Yechu looked at the empty bedroom. Suddenly an indescribable feeling filled his entire heart. He sat down on the sofa. His eyes fell upon the diamond wedding ring glittering under the light. This ring was a pair with the one he used to wear. He picked up the ring. In his deep, unfathomable eyes, a wave seemed to sweep gently through. Shen Yechu tightened his grip on the ring, a look of confusion on his face. Perhaps he thought I had finally chosen to leave that day. Shen Yechu returned to the company on time. The morning meeting was still in progress when he saw Chen Zeju rushing over anxiously. After the meeting ended, when Shen Yechu returned to his office, he saw Chen Zi, who had arrived uninvited. He was a bit surprised. Why are you here? Chen Zi put down his coffee and walked over. Yesterday I tried to invite a certain busy person to dinner but failed. So today I had to come find you in person. Shen Yechu sat back down in his chair, looking at the mountains of documents piled on the desk. He said helplessly, I might not be done that quickly. Chen Zi said considerately, it's okay. I'll wait until you finish. Time passed little by little. Unconsciously, an hour had passed. Shen Yechu had finished processing all the documents on his desk. Just as he was about to get up and take Chen Zi to eat, his phone rang at that moment. He glanced at the screen. He hesitated before answering. This was his private phone number. Very few people knew it. The voice on the other end was very cold. Shen Yechu, this is Zijaibo. Come to the police station now. Shen Yechu calmly asked, what is it? Between him and Zijaibo, there was no other connection besides me. Zijibo's voice was as cold as ice. Wang Lin's body needs to be cremated. The cremation process requires your signature. The cremation process required a signature from the deceased's family member. And my parents had long since passed away. Aside from Shen Yechu, I had no other family. Although we signed the divorce agreement, the final divorce procedures haven't been completed yet. So legally, Shen Yechu is still my only family member. Shen Yechu squinted. What did you say? Zijaibo coldly repeated himself. I said Wang Lin's body needs to be cremated, and it requires your signature. Shen Yechu clearly didn't believe it. Shen Sheng, are these tricks fun? Whether it's a trick or not, you'll know when you get here. With that, Si Jibo hung up the phone. The corner of Shen Yechu's mouth faintly curled into a mocking smile. After 2 days, finally willing to show up, Shen Zi walked up to Shen Yechu and asked softly, "Yechu, whose call was that?" Shen Yechu snapped back to reality. With an apologetic look, he said sorry. "Shen Zi, I have something urgent to deal with. Can have lunch with you." Shen Zi's expression was unchanged, but quickly he put on a smile. "It's fine. Work is important. We'll have dinner together another time." He went to the parking lot and got his car. He drove towards the police station. Arriving at the police station, he had a disapproving expression, obviously thinking, this was a trick played by me and Zijibo together, just to hold on to him. He would definitely see my smug look of success. But that wasn't the case. Arriving at the police station, he only saw Zijibo standing among several police officers. With a sorrowful expression, he frowned and walked over. Zijibo glanced at him indifferently and said to the police beside him, "He is Wang Lin's wife. He can sign." Zijibo's voice was also hoarse. Shen Yechu asked impatiently, "What the hell are you doing?" One of the police officers comforted, "My condolences." Shen Yechu's pupils slightly contracted. He didn't quite understand what he meant. "I'll take you to see the body first." To confirm, he followed that police officer. "I really want to know, when he sees my corpse, what expression he will have. Will he feel a little sad?" I followed them all the way into a room. There was a bed in the room. On the bed lay a person, covered from head to toe with white cloth. The body had been there for 2 days and 2 nights. Now the weather is hot. The injured parts have already started to rot. Livorno mortis has also appeared. It won't be long before it becomes worse. So we suggest cremation as soon as possible. Shen Yechu said, "I don't quite understand what you're saying." The police officer explained softly, "Your husband died in a car accident 2 days ago, passing away on the spot." Shen Yechu was hit by this absurd piece of news and was somewhat at a loss. He subconsciously clenched the hand hanging by his side. How is this possible? He didn't believe the person lying on the bed was me. Step by step, he walked to the bedside. His fingertips trembled slightly as they touched the white cloth. Just as he was about to lift it, he paused. After a long time, he slowly lifted the white cloth. Shen Yechu stared blankly at the man before him. A man so familiar it was as if he had been etched into his bones. He didn't look away for a long time, just quietly gazed at me without a word. Indeed, he was still so cold toward me, showing not a trace of emotion. Shen Yechu recalled, "Weren't you the one who said he committed suicide?" Zijibo sneered. "There aren't that many accidents. He was just trapped by you. Trapped by a terminal illness in his body. Either way, he couldn't go on living." Shen Yechu, Wang Lin treated you with all his heart. Never did anything to wrong you. You felt Wang Lin restricted your freedom. But he was merely a pawn in the family's interests. Yet he had to bear all your hatred and anger because of it. Shen Yechu stood there stunned. His eyelids drooped low. Shen Yechu looked at the confirmation form before him. His heart tightened slightly. He slowly signed the confirmation form. Shen Yechu watched as the body was pushed into the furnace. The raging flames gradually engulfed and swallowed me. After the cremation ended, the crematorium staff packed up the ashes and brought them out. Zijibo subconsciously reached out to take them, but Shen Yechu intercepted him halfway. Shen Yechu held the urn of ashes and looked at Zijibo indifferently. "He is my husband. His funeral arrangements are up to me." Zijibo didn't need to stand in front of him. As he spoke, he directly reached out to snatch it. Shen Yechu hugged the urn tightly and sidestepped to avoid him. "He is my husband. I will handle his funeral," Shen Yechu emphasized. Shen Yechu took the urn of ashes back to the villa. He returned to his room, clutching the urn. Having not slept all night, Shen Yechu's hair was disheveled, and his face looked somewhat tired. After a moment of silence, he finally stood up, holding the urn, opened the door, and walked out. While going down the stairs, Shen Yechu missed 2 steps and fell. He instinctively held the urn tightly in his arms, afraid it would suffer any impact. Shen Yechu carefully placed the urn of ashes on the table placed in the middle of the hall. He personally inspected all the items needed for the funeral. Wang Ling will be buried early tomorrow morning. There are still many things to prepare before the burial. Zijibo came over early in the morning. Not long after, Shen Zi arrived with a few classmates. Shen Yechu's eyes were fixed and stared steadfastly at the urn of ashes on the table. Silent and still, Shen Zi glanced at the table, pursed his lips, then suddenly said, "Maybe this is the best outcome. He won't be sad because of unrequited love anymore." Since then, Yechu and I have had no more obstacles. Zijibo's eyes were bloodshot. Chenzi's voice was colder than ever before. The first wife hasn't been buried yet, and the other man has already come to the door, spouting nonsense, celebrating the future. With that, he threw a punch at Chenzi. Chenzi, poised to fight back, was stopped with a sharp enough. Just as Chenzi was about to retort, Shen Yechu suddenly interrupted him in a deep voice. His face showed no emotion. He only said calmly to Chenzi, "You go back first." Chenzi stepped forward and explained, "Yechu, I didn't mean anything else. I just think this is a relief for all three of us. I know you are feeling guilty, but you can't blame his death on yourself." Shen Yechu raised his eyes and looked at Chenzi. His voice was much darker than before. "Leave immediately." Chenzi reached out to grab his arm, but he dodged sideways. Zijibo and Shen Yechu together handled all the preparations for the funeral. Shen Yechu looked at the dishes the servant had set down. In his mind, he suddenly recalled over the past 5 years the familiar taste of home-cooked meals. Unconsciously, it had already occupied all his taste buds. His gaze returned to the wedding photo. His smile was confused. "I'm sorry. I'm sorry." He squatted down and buried his face in his arms, his shoulders trembling slightly. Perhaps he remembered the words I once urged him. "Childish, after we got married, you cannot do anything to betray me. Stay far away from other men." So he would come home on time every day. Perhaps he could also remember the little things from before. The first birthday after our marriage, I carefully made a photo album for him. The second birthday, I traveled far to his hometown, specially learned the local snacks there, and cooked them for him. The third birthday, I made a bowl of long-life noodles by hand, and presented it to him right at midnight. The fourth birthday, suddenly I can't find a fourth birthday in the memories related to him. That's right, his fourth birthday was not spent with me. That day Chenzi called him. Without hesitation, he drove off to find him. I saw him get up and walk to the cabinet, pull out the photo album I once gave him from the drawer. He looked at the pictures one by one. Such a vivid person, it seemed hard to believe. That deep inside he actually felt a faint sadness. On the day of the funeral, a light drizzle fell from the sky. Zijibo arrived early. Holding a black umbrella, he stood silently in front of the tombstone. Many people paid their respects in front of the tombstone and then left. In the end, only Shen Yechu and Zijibo remained before the grave, and Shen Yechu's expression was too deep that others could hardly detect any extra emotion from his eyes. When was he diagnosed with cancer? Zijibo stepped forward, bent down and wiped the rain off the photo with his sleeve. A week ago, a few brothers had dinner together. He suddenly had severe abdominal pain and fainted. I took him to the hospital. The doctors confirmed diagnosis report. He must have gotten it the day before he killed himself. He gave me a phone call, said some strange things. Shen Yechu compared the pain of a terminal illness. The most despairing thing was that you didn't love him. Shen Yechu didn't know how he got back to the villa. He ignored everything, walked straight upstairs, returned to the room. There were no belongings left in the room. Shen Yechu lay on the bed. It was a bit hard. He started groping with his hand. Finally, he was about to discover what I hid under my pillow. It was a USB drive. After plugging it into the computer, I had recorded many things inside. There were videos and a diary, all related to him. Shen Yechu's fingertips trembled slightly, scrolling down one by one. When he reached the end, his eyes inexplicably stung. The last entry was written before his accident. Wanted to spend a birthday with Yechu. That day, he seemed to have tried to come back after midnight. His heart throbbed faintly. He carefully recalled every detail of that day. Zijibo said he received the diagnosis report on his birthday, and that night, he handed him a divorce agreement. He said, "If I die in the next life, I will not love you again." And he said, "Talk about it when you're dead." Shen Yechu's heart felt as if it was tightly squeezed. Suddenly all strength drained from his body, and my spirit also became transparent. The reason I had been unwilling to leave all along was perhaps just to get an answer. Now switching to the servant's perspective. After the funeral, Madam changed. He went to work on time as usual, seemingly normal. Even his secretary, Liu Ryan, noticed his unusual behavior. He used to arrive on time but rarely leave on time. But now, as soon as it was quitting time, he would drop everything and go home. And at noon, the boss actually brought his own lunch. His lunchbox is exactly the same as the one Mr. Shen used to bring to the office, for example, while he was buried in work. In the brief moment when his secretary brought in coffee, he calmly looked up and asked, "Mr. Shen, did he call today?" Liu Ryan's hand, holding the coffee, stiffened. No, he didn't. Madam would lower her eyes and murmur to herself, still angry, "Huh?" Liu Ryan stared in shock at the woman, who had already returned to work. He went to the office every day as usual. After coming home, he would have dinner sent up to the room, and always ordered for two. In the evening, he often went to the wine cabinet, grabbed a good bottle, and headed upstairs. He also prepared 2 glasses. That night, Madame, as usual, took a bottle of red wine upstairs. She suddenly paused at the foot of the stairs. Madame glanced beside her. A faint smile clung to the corner of her mouth. "Prepare some appetizers for Mr. Shen." Yes. The servant only focused on the latter part about the appetizers. It took him a while to realize the issue. The servant shuddered, "Prepare for Mr. Shen." "And madam, your arm is still..." Her arm was still hanging, as if holding something or someone. Her gaze hadn't moved from beside her either. She only murmured softly, Then madam turned to look at the servant. The smile on her face had not yet faded. "When the master drinks, he likes to have some appetizers. Go prepare some." The servant rubbed his eyes. The shock on his face deepened. "Madam, what are you holding?" Madam frowned slightly. Her eyes showed displeasure. "Wang Lin. A person this big is right here, and you can't even see him." After speaking, she looked back to her side. After a moment of silence, she began to mutter to herself, I know. I didn't blame him. It's just that you're standing right here, and he didn't even see you." Apart from Madam's occasionally confusing behavior, life seems to have not changed at all. She often shows everyone a kind of feeling that the deceased is still alive. Madam is very good to this imaginary husband. She is increasingly indulgent toward him. She asks the kitchen to cook his favorite dishes. The living room sofa has also been changed to his favorite color. Every move and action undoubtedly tells of Madam's longing for her husband. Chenzi, having somehow learned of Madam's current situation, broke into the villa to find her. Madam saw Chenzi and said nothing. She merely placed the dessert in her hand, to one side. But there was no one sitting on that side of the sofa. He looked at her incredulously. "Wang Lin is dead. How long are you going to keep deceiving yourself?" He grabbed her arm tightly with both hands. Shen Yechu indifferently pulled his hands away. "You go back. Don't come here again from now on." Wang Lin doesn't like other men coming to the house. Chenzi stood up. "Can you sober up? Wang Lin died a long time ago. He can't see your guilt and regret at all." The wife's face showed no great emotion. He reached out and felt beside him, as if comforting something. Facing Chenzi, "You go back." Chenzi stared at him blankly. "What do you mean?" "I like Wang Lin. You go. I don't want to see you again." "Then what about me? What am I?" Chenzi's eyes widened. "You're really deceiving yourself." After Chenzi left, the wife looked back at the killing. That person who was like a spring breeze, but had already disappeared. He searched everywhere, but couldn't find any trace of him. "Where's the wife? Is she angry?" Wei suddenly said. He ran to the bathroom in discomfort and vomited. A maid saw him, turned around, took out her phone, and dialed. "Mr. Chen, you'd better come back. The wife is vomiting nonstop now." The focused maid did not notice the woman who walked in behind her, until a chill enveloped her entire being. The maid only then realized. Madam." The wife's icy gaze fixed firmly on her. Without speaking, the maid was so scared that cold sweat poured out. Stuttering, "Madam, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. It's Mr. Chen. He asked me to report everything about you. Mr. Chen gave me a sum of money, and asked me to report to him your every move with the master at the villa. On the master's birthday, he asked me to put some photos secretly into Mr. Shen's room. I refused, but he still sent them to Mr. Shen via his phone later." Madam's eyes narrowed. "What photos?" The maid said tremblingly. "They are some intimate photos of him and you, and also a pregnancy test report." The madam's gaze turned even colder. He asked Liu Ryan to terminate all business dealings between the company and Chenzi. Completely. Overnight, Chenzi lost everything. He frantically searched everywhere for Shen Yechu's company, villa, and the restaurants he often went to, and entertainment venues, but he didn't even catch a glimpse of him. He was like a headless fly, full of anger with no outlet. Until one day, he called that maid and finally understood. Shen Yechu still lived a life between the company and the villa, going back and forth every day. A plain and boring life. Every day when he came home, he still had 2 portions of dinner prepared and brought to his room. Occasionally, he would still go downstairs to get a bottle of red wine and take it back to his room. There were still 2 glasses. A year later, on Wang Ling's death anniversary, Shen Yechu held a bouquet of baby's breath and went to see him. He finally came to terms with the fact that he was no longer there. Shen Yechu stayed there quietly for an entire day, without saying a word. He didn't get up and leave until night fell. As he drove back to the city, it began to rain heavily. He saw a truck from the adjacent lane in the distance, losing control and crashing head-on toward him. His hand subconsciously wanted to turn the steering wheel, but in that second, he remembered last year in the police station saw that breathless corpse. He let go of the steering wheel as well. Their earth-shaking loud sound. Shen Yechu completely fell into darkness. When his spirit floated out of his body, saw a familiar